Good day, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on template tactics. Firstly, I just wanted to thank everyone who joined in early and waited for us to kick things off. I really appreciate it. Just introducing myself briefly, my name is Eduarda, and I'm one of the trainers here at Reapit. Now, I am joined by Rich, who will be keeping an eye on the chat and answering your questions as we go along today. If you do want a bit more privacy, if you're welcome to use the Q&A box as well. And a quick housekeeping note before we begin. Today's webinar is being recorded and will be available on our YouTube channel within 24 to 48 hours. Now, before we dive in, I do want to get to know you guys a little bit better. So I'm going to launch a quick poll. Bear with me. And that should pop up on your screen shortly. Now, just a quick question around your day-to-day usage of templates, and also wanting to know who in your office is responsible for managing those templates. So I'll give you guys 30 seconds to complete the poll. All right, guys, 5 more seconds and we'll wrap it up. All right, guys, thank you so much to those who were able to participate and answer those questions. This does assist us in tailoring future webinars to your needs, of course. Just sharing those results on the screen with you guys in case you are interested in learning a bit more. And now we'll jump in to today's topic. Now, clear, concise, and consistent communication is crucial in building trust and progressing opportunities throughout every stage of the real estate journey. By the end of today's webinar, you will be able to manage template categories and create, edit, and delete templates. Let's walk through some practical examples of how templates can be used across different stages of a listing, from appraisal all the way through to settlement and nurturing those relationships thereafter as well. So, starting with our appraisal. When we book an appraisal, we will normally send a text or an email prior to going to that appointment in order to confirm that it's obviously still good to go ahead. We arrive at the property, complete the walkthrough on the mobile app, and once we head back to the office after the appointment, we will normally follow up with a quick email to thank them for their time and for allowing us to appraise their home as well. Now, hopefully, fingers crossed, you will win the business off the back of that. At which point, it's a great idea to send the vendor an email to thank them for the listing and to also outline the next steps of what they should expect. Once the listing is ready to go live, it's also a good idea to send them a quick text with the preview link so they can give us the go ahead prior to going to market. Now, once the property is live, you can use templates to communicate to buyers in bulk via the prospective buyers panel. And that is in order to notify them of price reductions, promote upcoming auctions, share e-newsletters about similar listings that might have come up, or even update them once you've sold this listing. When the sale becomes unconditional, templates can assist with congratulating the client, advising them of next steps such as key arrangements, issuing the sales advice, confirming settlement dates, and even requesting some Google reviews post-sale. But it does not stop there. Once the property settles, we do want to continue nurturing those relationships, and the templates will assist us with that as well. We can prospect buyers and sellers from anywhere in the system, whether it's from the contact card, the property card, an advanced property or contact search, prospector module. The options are really endless. And some communication examples that we might send are, for example, just listed or just sold letter to the street, market update, advising them of active buyers on the market, etc. Now, guys, the first thing we're going to look at in the system is how master users or users with the relevant permissions can create template categories. Template categories will allow you to file your various templates, and this will obviously assist the relevant teams in finding those templates in the future. Now, for that, guys, just head over to My Office, which is the little man with the tie. On the left, we'll click into Edit Details. We'll then head over across to the System Configuration. And from the drop-down options, we want to select Advanced. Once we are in our Advanced System Configuration option, we want to scroll right down to the bottom where we will find those template categories. Now, I have already created some templates in this, my apologies, template categories, I should say, in the system for you guys. Admin, prospecting, sales team. And now I'm also going to create a leasing team category to assist my property management team. So add new value, coming through and popping in the category name, and we can hit save. And if we scroll back down to the bottom, we can confirm that just like so, we've created that new template category. Now, if I need to edit any of the existing categories, all I need to do is click into it. This will allow me to make any relevant changes. For example, I can change this to marketing team, who will be assisting with the prospecting. Hit save, and those changes will be reflected. It's also the same process to delete those templates. We want to click into the relevant category from the action drop down, swap that over to delete, and when we're ready, we can proceed. However, keep in mind, if you have used it in the past, you will need to make sure those existing templates are categorized into something else beforehand. Now, guys, it's also worth noting that there are a few permissions related to the creation of those templates. Agents will be able to create templates for themselves and obviously edit those templates as they wish. However, in order to be able to share templates to other staff members, just heading over into the staff card, you will need the permission to manage templates on behalf of all. Okay. The other permission that's also relevant regarding what we have covered so far is the permission to manage those, my apologies, manage the templates and manage the office configuration. Okay, so unless they have that permission to manage the office configuration, they will not be able to create the categories like we have done before. Now, keep in mind, guys, we only recommend providing these permissions to key administrators, as your master users will already have them. Quick recap, My Office, search for the staff members, going into the staff card, under Access, They will need manage office configuration in order to create the template categories. And they will also need manage templates on behalf of all in order to share the templates they are able to create. And in our office details, we can head over to the system configuration, and under our advanced options, we will be able to create that new template category. Now, guys, without further ado, let's look at templates. We are going to be starting with our email templates today. What I'm going to be starting off with is looking at how an existing template works in the system. So for that, I'm going to search for my open appraisal. And once I am in the appraisal, I can head over to the email icon. And I do have the option to create and send out a quick email. However, we are focusing on templates today, so I'm going into email merge/template. Now I'm going to send a post appraisal follow-up as I've just come back to the office after conducting that appraisal. I've got the template ready to go. I can go ahead, select my recipient, make any relevant changes as applicable, and then I can save and proceed. I can see here that Jackie's details has come across. However, Jackie is actually not the only person that should be receiving this communication. Her partner, Jim, also needs to be receiving this. So what I'm going to be doing is always making sure that under agents and contacts, the prospective landlord or the prospective vendor is assigned. So coming through, adding Jim, saving those changes, and I can go back into the template option, select my post appraisal follow-up, and when I save and proceed, I'll be able to see, oh, my apologies, let's pop in that role. We'll be able to see both of their contact details coming across, and we can save and proceed in order to preview that email prior to send it out, so we can ensure everything is pulling across accordingly. When we're ready, we can just go ahead and send that email out. Okay, so nice and easy. All of that communication will be in the communication history for your reference as well. Now I'll demonstrate how to create, actually, let's go through editing an existing template first. I'm already in the appraisal, going into the template option. I do quite like that post appraisal follow-up template. However, I do want to make a few changes. I can simply click in, make the relevant changes as required. And when I'm done, all I need to do is click Save Template. And from there, you can update the existing email template, including renaming that if applicable as well. So I'm going to go ahead and update that template. Okay. And while we delete a template, we also go into Save Template. Okay. So if you ever need to delete a template, which I do, I need to delete this just sold, just head over to Save Template. And from the action drop down, we are deleting that email template. And we can go ahead with deleting. Now let's jump into the email template creation. Templates can be created from anywhere, like I've mentioned before, but we'd normally encourage for them to be created from where you'll be utilizing them. So in this case, I'm going to be heading over to a prospect property. as I'll be drafting a template for a complimentary health check to do a bit of prospecting. So coming over to my properties, I can come over to my email template, and we can start to build that template in order to save it. The first thing that I will do is remove my existing signature, because as a key administrator, I am creating this template to share with my staff members. Therefore, I'm going to be using a merge field, also known as a variable, to pull in the relevant merge fields for those staff members. And we're going to look at that very shortly. Now, I have a template ready to go, which I drafted on a Word document, in which case, when I need to paste that template to create it in AgentBox, I would go to the relevant pasting option. So you can paste from plain text, from Word documents, etc. So just selecting the option, following the instructions, so Control V, and we're inserting that so we can start the template creation. Now, as you guys can see, I have a couple of things that I do need to replace for those merge fields that I mentioned before, which is what we're going to be starting off with today. So getting rid of the contact name and replacing it for the relevant merge field, we're going into the little V, which is variables. And from there, we can select the relevant group, which would be the contact. And then we can select whether we want a generic contact merge field or we want a merge field related to the property specifically. I tend to stick with the generic ones. And the other recommendation that I have is to use the contact salutation opposed to the contact first name, or simply contact. Reason being, contact will pull their full name, for example, Richard Holmes, in which case it becomes a little informal. And the first name, again, will pull in Richard, opposed to a salutation, which will make it more friendly, saying, hi, Rich, etc. Okay. So if there is no salutation in place, don't worry. The first name is what gets pulled by that merge field. Okay. So I'm going to insert and close, and then we can move on to the next one, which is the property address. So back into our little V, we've now got a property variable, and it would fall under general for the address. Okay. We come through and we add the property address. Now, the property address will pull obviously the full residential address, including state, postcode, etc. If you don't want the full residential address, you could just pop in the address line and the suburb, which is what I'm going to do now. So inserting the address line, followed by the suburb. So going back into that property variable, general, and now we add that suburb in as well. One thing to keep in mind is if you need to enter a new line item, you need to hold Shift and then hit enter. Otherwise, when you proceed to preview that template, the formatting may not be very good. So keep that in mind. We always want to hold Shift and hit enter to enter a new line item. Now from here, I'm just going to finalize the rest of those variables, starting with the agent mobile. So deleting that, going into the variable option. Now you can go down two routes, like I explained before, generic or property specific. And what do I mean by that? You could select a property agent variable, which will then allow you to select a listing agent or an appraisal agent, depending on the communication that you are creating. However, You also have the ability to select staff variables, which will then just pull the email or the mobile number of whatever staff member is sending out that communication, which makes it a little bit easy. So I'm going to use this option and enter the staff mobile as well as the staff email. But again, this is up to personal preference. Now, one thing to keep in mind here, as a part of my template, I wrote best regards. However, in my existing email signature in AgentBox, I already have kind regards as part of my closing. With that in mind, guys, if you need to edit or customize your signatures, just head over to your username. Once that loads, we'll go over to my profile. And from staff photos, you are able to customize that signature. So again, I've already got that closing. I do not want to double up, in which case I'm going to remove best regards from my template, as that will be included in my merge field already. And that's what I will finalize with. Going into the variables, we will select our staff office variables, and we will just enter the staff email signature. Insert and close. And the only thing missing here is the subject line. Now, this is a complimentary health check, so that's exactly what the subject will be. However, I'm going to customize this by entering a merge field in the subject line as well. I'm basically just going to copy and paste the merge fields that will pull in that address for me. Okay. And another reason why I always create it from where I'm going to be utilizing it is so I can quickly test it out. For example, right now, I'll pop in property owner, I will save and proceed, and I'll be able to preview if that template is in fact working how I want it. If it is perfect, I can go back to the previous step and I can go ahead with saving that template. Simply pop in your template name, which would be complimentary health check, and then tying it back to those categories that we touched on before, we will categorize that accordingly. When you're done, hit create, and that's it. You're all sorted with your new email template. Now, guys, closing this up, I do want to very briefly touch on attachments. A lot of agents don't know that you can actually attach documents when you're sending emails from AgentBox. So if you want to create a template to send the prospective vendor or the vendor a copy of the agency agreement or of the contract, or a template which you'll be sending the activity report and your REA and domain reports from, that's worth keeping in mind. So opening up my listing, first things first, under resources, I do need to make sure that all those documents have been uploaded under documents. Any of these documents here, you can actually attach to any template or any quick emails that you want to send out. Okay. So quick email, simply use your attachment option to select what document you want to include as a part of that email. Okay. And that's also applicable to the templates that you're creating as well. That's it for our email templates, guys. We're now going to jump into our SMS templates. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an auction invitation. But before I do, I think there are a few key things that are really worth touching on. For example, you will not be able to send SMSs or utilize those templates unless you have purchased credits. Now, depending on the system configuration, this may be done by your master user, or you may have the ability to do this yourself. All you need to do is head over to your username, and from there, head over to purchase SMS credits. From there, you'll be able to select the pool of credits that you want to purchase, hit proceed, at which point you enter your card details. Okay. Now, if this needs to be completed on your behalf, of course, just reach out to your key admin or your master user, and they will be able to purchase and then allocate those credits to you. Let's go into my open listing, which I'm creating that auction invitation for now that we have purchased our credits. Going into my available listing, I'm looking for the SMS icon. And from there, I have the ability to, again, send a quick text, but we are focusing on those templates today. Selecting the template option, I can use any of my existing templates, of course, but we are going to be creating that auction invitation, like I mentioned before. Now I've got it ready to go, so I'm just pasting it in there. And we're then going to be using those merge fields again. Okay. One thing to keep in mind here, guys, the merge fields that you can add to your SMS templates from here are limited. You're restricted to these 6 options. Okay. I have the contact salutation here, which is perfect. So I can go ahead and I can add that contact salutation merge field in. What about all of the rest? A lot of agents tend to have the impression that they cannot use other merge fields and it will not work simply because the option isn't available. But that's not the case. All of the merge fields will work provided that you're sending the communication from the relevant area of the system. So what I'm going to be doing here is actually coming over to the question mark, which is our help center. And we're going to head over to the user manual. Now, this is a little bit of a cheat code, almost. I prefer to actually use my variables this way. But basically, this the user manual, my apologies, is the agent box Google. So anything you need to know will be available here, including your variables. So I'm simply searching for variable, and I will have all of those different groups of variable options available here. So contact variables, property agent variables, staff variables, trust and financial variables, so on. So all we need to do is identify what merge field we need, and then we can go to the relevant section. I need the property address, so I'm going to go into the property variables, and I can get the property address merge field from here. Quick tip, I always just hit Control F. This will allow me to physically type what I am after, what I'm searching. So I'm searching for the address. Perfect. I've got that straight away. I don't need to scroll through the whole page. And then I can go ahead and paste that merge field in my template. Same applies for auction date and time, guys. So in my search bar, I can search for the auction date and time. And I can copy and paste those merge fields in. Last but not least, agent name and office name. In which case, I would go back, have a look at my staff and general variables, and go from here. So again, just searching for the staff name. And then followed by the office name, which is also over here. Once I'm happy with my template, I can go ahead and save that template into my system by simply popping in the name of that template. Again, selecting the relevant category. And if I am a master user or I have that permission to manage templates on behalf of all, I will be able to share this new template that I've created with the team. And I can go ahead and create that. Okay. To edit a template, I can select that template, click in, edit, or delete. In this case, this was a test template, which is no longer required. So I'm going to go into Save Templates. From the action drop down, I'm going to delete that template. It's the same process, guys, as your email templates. Okay, rinse and repeat. It's literally a bit of a recap. Okay, if I need to edit it, same process. Click in. I'm able to make the relevant changes. Save template, and I'm going to update the template. I noticed there's an issue with the name, so I'm also going to rename this one. And I can go ahead and update that template. Okay. So again, guys, text message, SMS icon, SMS merge / templates, build your template, and then save on the bottom left. If you need to edit or delete, simply select the template, make the relevant changes, save template, and from the action drop down, you'll be able to both update or delete that SMS template. Now, guys, let's jump into letters. First, I would like to point out that you will have a purchaser and a vendor sales advice already available within your system as a default template. And that's what I want to jump into with you guys now. So let's go into the conditional or unconditional listing, depending at what stage you send that out. And when we're ready, we can go through to create a letter. And both of those will already be existing in the system. Now, one thing that I will highlight for you guys, especially if you will be starting to use this template moving forward, hit edit. At the top here, you will have a fax number with the fax merge field. It's 2025. Most of us don't use fax numbers nowadays. So make sure you remove that, okay, to make sure your template obviously looks clean and professional. That will also be applicable across the details for the agents and the solicitors, okay? So where it says vendor solicitor, you will see a little column or a little row, I should say, which has the fax number. So what I normally do is I right click, I go into row, and I'll simply delete that row. Okay. And a good example is some agents don't want the buyer to have access to the vendor's direct contact details. In which case, for the buyer sales advice, I can come to the vendor's details and I can just remove those rows that I do not want visible to the buyer. Okay. I can also add new rows, like for example, my exclusions. That's not a part of the existing template. I've added that one to mine. Okay. When we're happy with those changes, we can go ahead, save those changes. And obviously it will be applicable to everyone in the system. To create a new letter template, it's a little bit different. You actually have to scroll to the bottom of the existing templates. And when you get to the very bottom, you will then see the option to create a new letter template. So right at the bottom, we're selecting create new. We can pop in that template name and the body. I've got the body my apologies. The body here ready to go. Bit of a tongue twister there. And we'll pop in our template name as well, which is simply just listed to street. Yes, I have one in the system, but I am creating my own. I'm customizing it into my own lingo, adding my own personal touch to it. With those merge fields, guys, we've run through it twice already, so I'm not going to bore you. You can go into your variable section. You can select the relevant group and you can insert that variable. Otherwise, you have the option to go into the user manual as well. Coming through, adding all of the relevant details. When we get to the end, guys, the process will be the same. Hit save, and you will have created that new template in your system. Okay. Make any changes to that template. Go into that just listed that you have created. From there, we can hit edit and we can make the relevant changes. But it's important to keep in mind that there are things that will not be pulled across from a merge field. And I will explain what I mean. When we think about sending a just listed letter, we're possibly going to be sending that to the whole street. So what we're going to be doing is we're either going to be conducting a contact search or a property search. In my case, I'm going to jump into properties. I'm going to conduct an advanced property search. The listing that I have brought on is on Addison Road in Manly. So I'm going to be searching for the properties on Addison Road in Manly that are in my system. And now from here, I can go ahead and communicate to these people. At the moment, I've got my appraisals, not my properties. I could refine that further and change the type to prospects properties. And that will increase the numbers because we may have some properties in our system which we have not yet booked some appraisals for. From here, guys, create your mail merge. We're going to send that just listed letter to street. So I can select that template that we created. Bit of magic. I've got all the merge fields in there now ready to go. And we are simply going to enter the property address that we have listed. So it's 8 Addison Road in Manly. Now, why would a property merge field not work from where I am? Because there is no listing information to pull from. Okay, guys. So keep in mind, always create those templates from where you're going to be utilizing them in order to test them and make sure those merge fields are working effectively. And when I'm ready, again, I can save and proceed to check out and preview, make sure that the letter is all good. Nope, there is some merge fields that are not working, in which case I would go back in and fix it up. Okay. Once that's all fixed, obviously save templates and we will just update that letter template. Now, guys, before we part ways, I do also want to quickly cover some reports that you will be able to touch on relating to this session. Okay. First off, SMS, you can track the usage in the system. Okay. Head over to your reports. Under your general reports, you will have all of the purchase audits, credits consumed, etc. But the most important report relating to today's session is your email report. Reason being, this will allow you to track the emails and e-newsletters templates that you guys are using and sending out to see how effective they are. You're going to be able to check out open rates, bounce backs, etc. Okay. Unfortunately, my system is a training system, so there will be no data available for us to look through. However, in your system, if you check it out, you will be able to visualize all of those numbers and actually analyze the data behind it as well. Which contacts bounce back? Let's pick up the phone and give them a call, considering their emails are incorrect. Now, guys, I'm going to launch one more poll before we do a quick recap. My apologies. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Polls. And we are going to launch our second poll for today. Now, it does have 4 questions, so I'll give you guys 1 minute to complete this one. First question, do you feel more confident using templates across real estate pipeline after today's session? Which part of today's session did you find most valuable? How likely are you to review or update your templates after today's webinar? And are you interested in personalized training sessions? If you say yes, one of our team members will reach out to you and touch base on how we might be able to assist you with your day-to-day and your business processes. Okay. I'll give you guys another 10 seconds. All right, guys, the answers are coming through. About 50% of you have answered. So I might just give it another 10 seconds. All right, perfect. So I'll just share those results with you guys in case you are interested. Very glad to hear that you guys will be using more of templates. And I will also reach out to anybody who voted yes in that last question there. With that in mind, guys, in today's webinar, we looked at understanding and managing template categories, templates in general, and we also looked at some key reports that will help us track some communication history. That does bring us to the end of today's webinar. However, before we leave, there you go. That was my poll slide. Before you leave, I'd love it if you could please fill out a quick survey on how today's webinar went. Rich has just dropped that in the chat for you guys. It should only take about 10 seconds. It's literally only 3 multi-choice questions. But the feedback is, of course, really appreciated and valued and incorporated into the upcoming webinars as well. Now, guys, for those that are here completing the webinar, please feel welcome to ask any questions that you might have in the chats relating to today's question. Maybe it's something we didn't cover and that you were curious about. More than happy to stick around for the next 5 minutes or so, answering any questions that you guys pop in the chat. But if you don't have any questions and you have already taken the time to hopefully complete that survey, thank you so much for attending. I appreciate your time, and I will see you guys next month for our next webinar.